Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another video. Today we are creating a family for the Disney save, and this is Sid Phillips, his sister, and his two parents from Toy Story. So this was a different household for me to make. This is our second, I believe, like full normal residential family. But the reason that this one was so different is because we actually never get to see Sid's parents in the movie. So I kind of had to work my way backwards. I created Sid first and Hannah, and then used the genetics in the game to make somebody who looks like them, but an adult version. So there are first characters of the save that are totally out of my own head. I went very typical with them, very much what you would probably expect based after the very little information we get from the movie, but obviously you can take it in whatever direction you want to. But first, let's start out with Sid. So Sid is a rambunctious scamp. His trait is that he is mean. Sid is the neighborhood bully. All the local children know him and avoid him at all costs. He steals toys from classmates, never does his homework, and is especially mean to his sister, Hannah. Sid plays by his own rules and never listens to authority. His mother tries so hard to send him on the right path, but even she is a little tired of trying to get him to behave. Sid is creative, but he uses that creativity in ways many children would never think. His hobbies include playing with fireworks, playing with fire, construction, playing with tools that he shouldn't even know how to use yet, and reconstructing toys into horrible monstrosities. So that is all obviously very much based after the movie. I picture him as just being like one of those kids that doesn't get along with anybody, and it's not necessarily like he wants to. He's not really looking for friends. He would rather be by himself. He would rather play by himself. He feels like nobody really understands him. His parents are kind of at wit's end with him, and they are trying, obviously. In fact, his mother has an aspiration for a big happy family, so she definitely hasn't fully given up on him or anything. He's just a handful. He's a lot, and he takes a lot of attention, and obviously that's going to affect his sister Hannah. So this is a very different family dynamic compared to Andy's family. It's literally the complete opposite in every single way, and I feel like Sid would require a lot of extra parenting, so that's definitely very challenging and requires a lot of time. That is Sid, our evil character from Toy Story. Moving on to his sister Hannah. So Hannah is, again, the opposite of Sid. She reminds me of Andy in a lot of ways, and I felt like there was so many things that I could do with her character, especially for later on in the save. So Hannah is a social butterfly. She is creative. Hannah is nothing like her brother Sid. She is sweet, kind, very gentle, and super fun to be around. She's very, very shy, though, so she does not talk to anybody that doesn't approach her first. She has skills that she would never share with other people. She's just like your typical kind of hides in her room, a little bit scared, but her aspiration is that she wants to be a social butterfly. She wants to have lots of friends, be super outgoing, and really be super involved in her classmates and all of that. Hannah uses her creativity, but mostly to find things to do by herself, since her and Sid don't really play together. Hannah wants to be an artist or a Broadway performer when she grows up. She loves to sing, but she's too scared to show anyone her talent. She also has a crush on her neighbor Andy. Again, she would never tell him. He's in her class, and she loves how easy he is to talk to and how outgoing he is. They've been friends for a while now, so she's obviously very close to him and feels like he's a good companion. But she kind of envies Andy in the fact that he is really outgoing and has lots of friends and finds it really easy to talk to other people. She definitely looks up to him. Hannah loves to play pretend. She loves to play with dolls. She also loves to sing, but only when she knows that she's completely alone. She believes she would be good at instruments if she ever got the opportunity to try one. And that is Hannah. Moving on to their parents. So again, I did have to use the genetics in the game, so they do look a little bit crazy at first. I did tone them back a little bit when I put them into genetics, because it was a tad too much in my opinion. Made the eyes a little bit smaller and positioned them just slightly different compared to what I think that they would turn out like. However, let's get into their parent characters. So this is Kira Phillips. Her aspiration is big, happy family. She is a hot-headed, bro, self-assured sim. She is married. Her husband's name is Ronald. Kira is overwhelmed most of the time. She feels like she's trying to raise two children by herself, even though she's married. Sid is a handful, and if she spent all of her time trying to get him to behave and do his homework, she would do nothing else. Ronald doesn't really help when it comes to Sid. In fact, she feels like he's teaching Sid bad habits. Hannah, on the other hand, is an angel, so much so that Kira feels she never gets time to communicate with her as much as she would like to, because there's very little to say. Kira wishes she had more time to go out and be a normal young adult. She used to hang out with her friends and party all the time, and she misses it more than anything. Despite all of that, she tries to put her best foot forward with her family. She keeps the house relatively clean, and she tries to remain active in her children's lives. Her ultimate goal is to make everybody happy and have them all be successful. She works retail. Her hobbies are parenting. Obviously, that takes up a huge portion of anybody's life. Hanging out with her friends when she can, party games, bartending. She likes to go out for sure, get a babysitter, and that's Kira. So she's definitely a mom sim that's just trying to do her best. She doesn't feel like she's always super supported from her husband, and she feels like he is sometimes not the most helpful. He's not always around. He sometimes teaches the children bad things that she feels like she would not want them to know or be into, even like providing Sid with some of those tools that you get to see in the movie that maybe he shouldn't be having. And that is basically Kira. So moving on to her husband's name is Ronald Phillips. His aspiration is master mixologist. He is hot-headed, lazy, non-committal, and he is married to Kira. So Ron only cares about two things in life, and it's not his kids. He wants to make sure he can go bowling every week and maybe someday own his own bar. He loves to party, stay out late, and go bowling with friends. He is almost never home, but when he is, it is usually to sleep. His wife, Kira, takes care of the kids, so he never worries too much about that. They both seem to be growing up just fine. Plus, when he is home, Kira and him argue a lot, and he would rather not get into it with her, so usually he just leaves. Kira says he's lazy, but he would say that you can't possibly be lazy with all of the big dreams he has, which he never does anything to work closer towards. He might be in some kind of a bowling club. I haven't really established a bowling club in the Disney save, mostly because I can't come up with too many characters that might be interested in that, but I'm sure there's a bowling club already in, like, the game files itself that I could just put him into, and I'm sure he would love it. For his jobs, he is currently unemployed, but he will take odd jobs at local bowling alleys and bars, of course. His hobbies are bowling, drinking, TV, and repeat. And that is literally it for Ron. He is your typical kind of aloof parent, thinks that things are going fine, really focused on himself and his goals, but doesn't seem to be making any kind of headway as far as his own personal ambitions. He lets Kira take care of most of the parenting. Also, he's a non-committal sim, so do with that as you will. And one of the things that I read on Disney Wiki was that you can see bowling items throughout Sid's house, and it's implied that his father is deep, heavy into bowling. So I decorated the house a lot with some of that stuff. Put him in a bowling shirt, classic like dad shoes, high knee sock outfit. He's very, like, I would say generic, what you would think that he might look like. And what's funny is that Sid's mom looks more like Sid, and I think that the dad looks more like Hannah. So I think the genetics in the game worked out pretty well. I did change them a little bit, like match the ear shape and the lip shape just a little bit more to what I thought would be realistic to carry over genetics wise. And that's it for Ron. He's not my favorite character we have in the save for sure. Do with it as you will. You can obviously play it in whatever direction that you would like to personally, but I thought it would just be a very different family dynamic overall. And then lastly, we have their dog. Their dog's name is Scud. He is a bull terrier, I believe. I know them as the Target dog. If you've ever seen like the dog that they used to advertise for Target, I believe this is the same dog. So Scud actually has quite a few markings on him that are super distinguishable, and I feel like make him really recognizable. So other than just getting his general proportions right, I wanted to try to match some of those markings the best that I could. It seems like his patches are shades of brown, gray, black, like there's a lot of depth to them and a lot of colors going on. He has one over his left eye, and then he has a couple of various ones on either side of his body. So I was able to go into the movie screenshots and find quite a few shots of the dog from different angles so that I could hopefully match up as many of the spots as possible. Obviously, I would say Create a Pet is not my strong suit, especially because I haven't done it in a long time. This Disney save has been like the first time that I've gotten back into Create a Pet since Cats and Dogs came out, and that was a few years ago now. So getting back into using some of the tools and figuring out the layering and the opacity, obviously I do art, so it's a little bit easy to figure out like what I do art. I draw, I'm an artist, I do things like that. So it's easy to figure out how to use the game. It's like, it feels like Photoshop in a really weird way. However, it's still tricky to get likeness, especially for some of these more generic like pet characters. But I tried to match everything the best that I possibly could. He is an aggressive dog. He is also, I think, a stubborn dog and something else. So he would be a handful in and of itself. Probably Ron's dog. I would imagine Ron got him maybe when the kids were first born, or maybe Scud is even older than the children and he's been around for a really long time. But I have him set as an adult dog. And that is going to be it for the Phillips family today. I hope you guys enjoy. It features 2 of my own creations, so I hope you guys like them as additions to the save. If you missed the last video, that was the speed build of their house, so make sure that you check that out, as well as the other Toy Story builds that will all be linked in the playlist down below, as well as at the end of the video. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, that will be linked in the description box down below, as well as at the end of the video. Let me know what you thought of these guys down below as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post, and I will talk to you all in the next one.